Hello everyone, Sarah Gordon here. I thought it would be really helpful to put a screencast together to walk you through your written reflective account. I know it can be quite stressful when we have assessed periods of time during our course when we have to do some written work, and I know that we will find everything else that possibly needs doing other than getting down to our writing. So I'm hoping that this will form some sort of structure and allow you to sort of take a deep breath and crack on with this assignment. So it always seems impossible until it's done, and believe me, I have been there, so I do feel your pain. So just let's go through this slowly, and then hopefully by the time we've got to the end of this screencast, it will give you a really clear guidance on what you need to do. So we're looking at a 2,500 word reflective account. It's exploring roles of practitioners in supporting children's learning and development and or well-being. You need a reference list that's not included in the word count, and an appendix which will have the signed research proposal that you're putting in this week and a copy of your questionnaire. Okay? So the introduction. Can I just say these sections have been pulled together as an ideal from Sarah Rawding. It is really helpful for you to have sections in your writing so that you don't get what's known as writer's drift and you get taken off into a right rabbit warren of all sorts of research and investigations, which is interesting, but actually it doesn't help you get your assignment done. So the suggestion is here that your introduction is about 250 words. Where you need a brief outline to what the reflective account is about and an introduction to your role and your setting, because it tells the reader, okay, I know this person, I know where their setting is, and they've given me a brief outline to what the account is about, so I now know what the meaty part of this assignment will be about. So this student's work, they've given me permission to be able to use sections of their work. So she starts off her assignment saying that in this reflective account, I will consider the assessment, planning and observation cycle. So there you go. Immediately, you can see which area she is going to be concentrating on. She said that she's gained research and compared approaches between settings in this area using semi-structured questionnaires. She's talked about the fact that she's needed to get ethical consideration for this. And she then talks about her setting. My setting is a child-minded partnership. There are 6 children attend the setting. So you've got a clear image of where she is and where her research is going to be placed. Moving on to the main section. Now the main section is 2,000 words, but we'll break this down so it doesn't seem so onerous. Okay? So here again, you've got your key concept theories and principles of the adult role in supporting children's developments are described and explained. Okay, so this is your assessment criteria. You will need to explain the key policy theory concepts and principles related to your chosen area. So you may wish to start with an outline of how this links to the EYFS and then link it to the literature, research or theory that underpin the policy. So this student begins by saying it is argued that the main aims of early education studies are to provide a safe learning environment, to create a secure foundation for children and to scaffold development. She then references that correctly using the APA referencing, and then she goes on to develop that further in that paragraph. She then is able to critically analyse what she's reading. However, contradictory to what is outlined within the policy is the traditional perspective that learning and play are not associated. Children either spend time learning or playing. She then moves on to talk about observing children allows practitioners to gain an insightful understanding of how they learn best. And she then makes the link to the research by saying this links to my research as I found that the primary school mainly carried out observations spontaneously for the day. However, towards the end of term, more observations will be planned for each child to enable any gaps in their development to be filled. So I'll leave you to go through this slide and all of the slides actually in a little bit more detail. So the main section then moves on to the extent to which specified methods of inquiry have been explained. Okay, so you need to describe the process of developing a questionnaire as a research tool and explain who your participants are. Okay, so explain why, who they are. You will explain the need to consider the ethics, etc. So again, this student starts to investigate the process of the cycle within another early years setting. I developed a semi-structured questionnaire with a range of closed and open questions, and she references that. Very clear. Semi-structured questionnaires are a useful data collection tool as researchers can easily distribute them to a large group of participants, meaning a wide variety of responses can be obtained. She then goes on to sort of counterbalance that and look at the disadvantage. And also she mentions the completion and approval of the ethics proposal, and to ensure that the research continued to be carried out ethically, the participant was assured that their information would remain confidential. Another part of the main section, the extent to which practice within early years has been analysed. Okay, so this is reflecting on the practice in your setting in relation to your reading and your own research findings. How does practice in your setting compare to the practice you have revealed through your research? Is practice in your setting effective? Are there any challenges? And what areas of strength or improvement have you identified? And all of these, you make links back to the academic literature. So again, the student here, let me show you some examples. She's looked at the Levers-Leuven scale, because this appeared to be a concept which the primary school was unaware of. Within her setting, it is also the case that the Leuven scale is not used. Therefore, I found this to be an area which could be explored to improve practice. She then goes on to use the work of Debye. The work of Levers have influenced the way in which practitioners view what is essential for children to learn and how practitioners can help put these essentials into practice to allow them to be effective learners. So she's investigating and exploring her research and reading. She then links it to the questionnaire that she found that the primary school setting used their learning journeys to highlight any areas which they believed a child required assistance in and use these to create their next steps for development. The main section then moves on the extent to which responsibility for setting targets and the extent to which plans to initiate and implement improvements to practice are made. So are there any gaps? What do practitioners need to know? How could this be done? Okay. Again, upon reflection, the student says, I found that there are gaps. Okay. A possible challenge which may arise from the introduction of this could be my managers not having the knowledge. And then finally, she talks about parent partnership, which the primary school demonstrated was favourable, as the partners are continuously involved in their child's development. Your summary and conclusion then, again about 250 words, needs to recap what you've covered. Have you made links to key concepts, theories, principles? What were your findings? What were your plans for developing practice? How did you find the process of conducting the research? Any surprises? And actually, would you do anything different next time? This student, again, in her assignment, to conclude, she found that using a semi-structured questionnaire as a research method to be an efficient method of comparing practice between early years settings and identifying areas for improvement. And from the research, believed that it's helped to reflect on the observation cycle and identify the benefits. And then she talks about the plans for improvement will enable effective practice for future observation, assessment and planning. Finally, you will have to add a reference list from all your reading and make sure you use the reference guidance to do this so that you get this right. It is a real shame when you lose marks because you haven't referenced correctly. Okay, so please, that's a big plea from me. Make sure you spend time to check this over. Okay, so I hope this has calmed us all down a bit, given us a bit more of an understanding of what is needed in each section and how we can structure this assignment. As always, you can bob into the drop-in on a Wednesday night at 6 p.m. through Zoom to ask me any questions about this. And obviously through discussion board, you can ask me questions then. Okay, good luck.